All right, we are good to go, Michelle.
Now we ready. We can get out. All right. Greetings, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order this joint meeting for Norway Public Utilities Board of Commissioners and the Sewer Authority for Tuesday, October 28, 2025. In order to effectively run our meeting online, I'd like everyone to announce their name and title before speaking if they are joining us via WebEx. Anybody on WebEx? Yes? Greetings, WebEx, how are you? All staff? All right. Welcome staff on WebEx. We would like to have a 15-minute public comment period. So if there's any members of the public here in person or online or online who would like to address the board, I'd like to remind you, or like to remind anyone who would like to speak tonight that it is a time for public comment, not a discussion or back and forth with the MPU board. The issues raised by the public during the period will be considered by the board in consultation with the staff at the appropriate time. To be respectful of everyone's time this evening, any public comment should be limited to 3 minutes. Do we have anybody from the public here today in person and online?
All staff on the back row and staff online.
Staff online, staff in the back row. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Now accept the motion to approve the minutes of our last regular meeting of the MPU Board of Sewer Authority meeting on Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Make the motion, started by Jerry, seconded by Bill.
I have, there are a couple, errors, on the strategic presentation, some additional letters in there that should be taken out, and also on the item number 8, under actions, the same as in the next to the line sentences in it, a couple letters in there.
Excuse me. Is that part of your discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for discussion? Nope. Good. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. We set the board minutes for the Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Item agenda number 4. Information and updates provided to the board prior to tonight's meeting. Are there any questions for Chris or the staff on the materials that were provided in the board package last week with the bulleted information on financial updates, leadership team template, customer service dashboard, and strategic plan update? Any questions for Chris or the staff?
I guess I have a question. It's not so much the leadership team template as it is the leadership team. My understanding is the head of the electric division left 5 or 6 weeks ago, and we never heard anything about it, but is that true? And
Eric McDermott has moved on to another position. His last week was 2 weeks, and his last day was 2 weeks. 17. We do have a temporary solution to fulfilling that role. Steve will be taking some on, as well as 2 other members of the staff. And we'll be looking at, a permanent replacement in the spring.
Do we know why he left?
He has another opportunity at Amgen.
just commenting, I think when you're talking about a senior person, would have thought. That's just comments.
Yeah, we didn't hear a thing about it, so we're a little surprised.
I think in the future, senior management is leaving, resigning, retiring, that would be fine, so.
Absolutely, yeah. He left after I went on vacation, haven't put an update
Did he
out.
give you notice?
He gave us,
Or
short, 4 weeks ago.
did he give any indication on legal?
Nothing specific.
Any other questions for the staff? The materials,
I
got your update?
I do have one question, under safety. Do we do any trench safety, training? It's not listed. Trench safety?
Yes, we have.
Confined space?
Yes,
Oh, it wasn't listed, so I think it's important.
they're standard.
A confined space will go.
Gary, anything? Anything else?
Oh, no,
Who's that?
No, so almost
Okay. Bill?
You know, one last thing on the human resources, there are 3 new, positions that are in progress. The film, I think, and did the job description change at all on those 3?
We have a field service general foreman, and minor changes, but nothing pay, so.
You know, if in the future, if we could see, I think it would be a good idea, if we see if it changes or if these things removed or added, that we get the original version red line with the, changes. Okay? It's added.
Whenever we have one that changes in pay grades, Joe, bring it forward. We pretty much almost on something that's not routinely, filled, we are not this, we are changing the job descriptions just because a lot of the language is antiquated. So, but we've only brought it to the board when there's a change in pay. That's what's, directed in the bylaws. So, but if you'd like more, happy to do it.
Thank you.
I guess I have one question on the strategic plan. Strategic plan update or whatever is included in our materials, but what is the status of it? Are we going to meet and discuss it? Are we going to meet with the author? I mean, where does it stand in terms of being adopted or hasn't been adopted?
We presented this back in March.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so this is just the updates of what's going on. And so we've been doing quarterly updates, and this is our second quarterly updates.
I noticed that, you know, when we look at percent complete, it's low.
Yeah,
Will that, you expect that to be, you know, 70, 90% by March?
it's a 3-year plan.
Yeah.
So some things like the technology plan are what we've been primarily working on. That's been our primary focus.
So, Chris, let me just make sure I understand what you're saying. I recall us having a special meeting and meeting with, I can't think of her name. but-
Jackson, Wagner, Stacy, yes.
Yes, that's right. And discussing things, and then we had a follow-up where I think, I don't know if she talked to us, she asked for comments, and I know I did some comments, other people may have as well. But did we formally adopt the strategic plan?
Yeah, it was, we did a board meeting, it was somewhere, in the April, May timeframe.
All right, well, I'm sorry.
Last question.
Go ahead,
So
sir.
since for Chris Riley, I don't know if you saw on the day yesterday, there was a letter to the editor from a woman in East Line. He signed that was opposed to the NPU expanded gas expansion. I don't know if it begs a response from us.
One person in East Line actually didn't give her more attention than he did. And the council's already approved it, you guys have already approved it. It's a back and forth problem, just an environmental enthusiast.
Right.
But we saw that, I sent it to the senior team, and there was a comment even to her comment, so one person, I don't
I
think.
just saw it.
Yeah.
And when we went and got the gas agreement through, there was one person also who spoke as far as we should not be getting into gas because,
Fine.
yeah, from the environmental perspective. But never came back for, meetings or any other.
I don't recall, I mean, I watched the council meeting on TV, I don't recall if she was from Norwich or if she was just making comments. I mean, she might have been the same person.
If you review the footage, everything she says, that when you go up to speak at that microphone, you state your name and your address.
Okay.
Unless it's frequent flyers.
Yeah.
Frequent flyers stay inside.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for the staff or Chris? All right, on to the CMAC report by Commissioner Stewart P.
Luckily, he's here. Let's see, the CMIC board met on September 25th and October 23rd. It's our last meeting. The member power cost of member return for September was $100 per megawatt hour, which was 37% below the expected deviation to benchmark. The project portfolio for September was below budget by 8%. Microgen actuals were below budget by 42%. Transmission project number one actuals were even to budget. Sub-base fuel cell actuals were above budget by 95%. Interestingly, that's because it wasn't being used. And community solar garden was above budget by 148% for reasons not explained. The predicted year-on actuals, however, are now predicted to fall below budget by 17%, driven mostly by Microgen, which was predicted at the beginning of the year to generate about $5.5 million, and it's now budgeted at, it was budgeted at the beginning of the year at $6.9 million. It's going to come in at about $5.5 million, about a 20% reduction. Unfortunately, the problems with Microgen are reported out as the inability to capture the monthly peak power hour, which is based on a weather prediction, and the inability to operate the entire fleet due to failed emissions tests for a portion of the fleet. And emissions equipment upgrade for all units has been investigated and is expected to cost over $1 million. The failure to capture the monthly peak hour is exacerbated by behind the meter photovoltaic, also known as solar, which has been identified by us in New England as an evolving issue for grid operation. Behind the meter solar capacity in New England is now capable of supplying over 50% of the daytime power in the spring. These so-called duck days, based on the shape of the hourly power curve, are defined as days with less midday wholesale power demand and overnight demand caused by behind the meter solar. Duck days have become more prevalent, and this year ISO New England reported that for the first time 20 duck days were reported in March, and 100 duck days were reported by Labor Day of this year. For Microgen to now capture the monthly peak transmission hour, it must both predict the hottest day of the month, where peak transmission usually occurs, but also predict the degree of sunshine on that day and that hour, and that will reduce grid transmission. So now the hottest hour on a cloudy day is the target. Let's see, so the prevalence of duck days also highlights the need for battery storage sooner rather than later, in my opinion, where grid power demand is now falling below base power output, and base power cannot be throttled to compensate. No word yet on whether CMEC is entertaining a significant battery price. That's all I had.
Thank you, Stu. I do have one question. Can I go back to the previous information update?
Sure.
With the governmental shutdown, does it have any effect on any of our upcoming project funding or anything in that regards?
Yeah.
It does? Yeah, I'm sorry.
So we got some concerns on that, and Chris, you want to kind of go over what you've been hearing? And
Well, it's almost project by project. From what I understand, the gas funding, there hasn't been anything yet, but it's entirely possible that there could be a hiccup. Some of the Clean Water Act money that's made available through the Washington up to Hartford is another area of concern. It's been truncated in a number of blue states, not in Connecticut yet, But if it's happened in, I believe it's Illinois, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York, and New Jersey, it's entirely possible it could impact Connecticut as well. It's, the answer is no for now, but I would be shocked if it was no in 2 weeks or 3 weeks if the shutdown continues.
Are we talking about delays until the government reopens, or are we talking about?
I think anything, if you can predict what is going to be happening in Washington, I want to be on the flight to Las Vegas with you. There's both concerns. One, that they would stop the funding for some projects, or they would just reduce it or pull it back for certain projects in certain states, depending on what they use.
The 1.6 million appropriation we got for buying the bikes in Greenville. We haven't lost the money, but there's no one at EPA to approve 100% design plans to get this. The ground running straight for construction.
Oh, it really costs. That's all.
We actually, there's no one in the office, so we can't get approval. I lost the money.
How about the PFAS, filtration?
No, that's going on fine.
Yes, our next question is in regards to customer service.
Can we just touch on CMAC for 1 second, please?
Oh, I didn't know there was an open period for CMAC. Who wants to discuss that, so.
Oh, well, I mean, we just had the CMAC report, so. I just wanted to point out that CMAC is redoing its bylaws, and the backup directors are being eliminated from the bylaws. So we have only appointed Chris and Stu as the directors, and I was in the backup position. That will end at the end of 2025, and I think that's fine. CMAC has currently 12 directors from the various utilities. It has 6 directors from the various towns, so that brings it to 18. They have a state regulator, who's very active and very good. And then there were the backups. So, I mean, we could barely fit in the room. So I think it's going to be a it's correct thing.
Couldn't fit in their room.
Yeah.
And the Mecca was suggesting that when his term ends, that he didn't really see that his value has been, whatever value he provided the organization is now complete. And I think he was pushing that his position be permanent as well, but that's up to the state to decide that.
That's a legislative action
It's
requirement.
not him, but he thinks that his work is done, basically, whatever value he's providing. And then then the towns then decide that their municipal rep is also necessary.
So how many people does that eliminate? 5?
So it'll be 18 plus, that, who's not on the, he's not a voting member of the board, but he attends every meeting.
So we're actually 2 backups for a period of time, and a lot of the towns have simply just dropped down to 1. So I don't know how many, but
There was a backup for each that you don't see some of the backups very often.
When the whole board meets, there's more board members than there are employees.
And the other thing that happened at CMAC is the bypass, that's done.
Yeah. Say, I don't remember.
Do we see my comments? Any more comments? I guess I just wanted to go back for a second. Just we just thought about this. Sorry. If we belabor some things, I guess I just have a question. My question is because of the shutdown that we had, I'm assuming that this could impact some of the TV, CCA benefits as we start to get closer to the colder weather. That, that could impact customer service for some of our customers who might not be working or who have the benefits they receive. Should we start to think about a contingency plan that continues on? People are receiving the benefits that they need to help them with the bills.
So, we're gonna be having a presentation a little bit later,
Okay.
from Shailene Alberti, and she will go over, how we handle our hardship cases. That's most of the time people receiving, these staff type benefits and other benefits like that are in the hardship categories, and she can go into a little more detail on, that at that time. And if there's additional questions, it'd be a great time to ask.
And I guess overall, as an organization, November 1st, the SNAP benefits are going to be discontinued for some people. As an organization, it's something that we should think about, what we can do to help our community in the time of need. So I'm not saying that we need to address that now. I'm not saying you have the answer. I'm just saying as an organization, should we be doing something? Should we be thinking about that? Or if there's anything or any contribution that we should do as an organization, as a whole, or a board, maybe we should start to think about those things as well too. Because my understanding that food share is not an option in southeastern Connecticut. And there could be some opportunities for some food debtors for some individuals here in our own community. So I'm just wondering if there's something that we do as a whole, as a community, to assist with that. If we thought about that, the direction we should go with that, or if we shouldn't do anything, then I'm not sure either, but I'm just kind of asking as I'm thinking about, the situation that's approaching. What that looks like for us as a whole.
Connecticut Food Share provides significant support to St. Vincent de Paul, and that's federally funded. United Way, who also does the mobile food pantries, does not have any federal funding, and so they will not be impacted. But some of the member agencies that are funded by United Way are significantly funded by the feds, like TVCCA.
And the state is gonna pick up some of the funding for the food share, but not all the more people.
There's $3 million I saw that was allocated for the entire state. And it seems like there's 385,000 people that are using SNAP benefits at the moment. So I'm not sure what that looks like for the month, for the week. I'm just curious as to, how we should contribute or something that we should as a whole, if the situation persists. That is impressive. Maybe you might not have the answer. But anybody, but I was just curious to see. Needless to say, we'll move on with our presentations. We have our winter moratorium with Shailene.
So yes, the winter moratorium is beginning effective for November 1st, and it will carry us through May 1st. During that time period, customers who qualified for the winter hardship would not be interrupted, non-payment of a past utility bill or electric or gas service. They will qualify based on receiving Social Security, unemployment benefits, the state or city assistance such as subsidy or SNAP benefits. We do not require proof of actually getting that funding if they qualify based on income, which is verified by TVCCA. They can also qualify for the winter protection. Serious illness certified by a medical provider. They can go in the office and fill out a form depending on how their doctor certifies. They would be protected during that time period as well. This is over the past 5 years, the number of customers that we have enrolling in the winter moratorium. On average, it's 1,050. One program that begins in November is our matching payment program. So we will review all customers' accounts at the end of this month. So this week we'll be reviewing. It's an arrearage forgiveness program for customers who have a past due balance. They can qualify if they have received energy assistance the previous heating year. If they heat with us, meaning they have electric or gas heat and they have a past due balance. So there's no actual application for them to fill out. If they qualify, will automatically be enrolled in both the winter protection and the matching payment program. Last year's program, we finished out, we had enrolled 220 customers, 32 customers completed the program, the total credits of about 165,000. On this year's program, which ends on Friday, we had enrolled 226 customers. We currently have 42 customers on the program with credits at 128,000 right now. This is just showing on average, we have about 250 customers enrolled over the last 5 years. During the middle of COVID, we had higher enrollments because we had many more customers with the past due balance and qualifying persons. Generation Power, formerly known as Operation Fuel. MPU is a fuel bank for the Generation Power, so we can process applications. We have 2 representatives that have the ability to process applications. We submitted 45 applications in fiscal year 25 for a total of $21,000. That does not mean that that's all the money we got from them. Customers can also go on their website and apply individually for the funding. We just have representatives to assist customers. May not be deciding to do that. We currently have a full-time TVCCA Energy Assistance representative in our office. They assist with the energy assistance applications. They do it over the phone and in person. They accept walk-ins. Costs us about $30,000 per year. And we have just over 1,500 customers receiving energy assistance last year, with a total of $1.04 million instead of $140,000 for the previous year. And to provide an update on our community assistance rate, this is the second full year of the public community assistance rate, which we qualify also through TVCCA. Our representatives do not qualify the customers. We have just under 2,100 customers enrolled in the community assistance rate, and we've saved last year, since last year's update, $370,000 to these customers, which is a 10% reduction to their electric, up to $22.60 per month, because it only covers the first 1,000 kilowatt hours. And if they're enrolled in auto pay, they receive an additional 10%, bringing their savings up to $4,000. Also a voting member of the Low Income Energy Advisory Board, which just advises various state departments on the energy assistance programs. We have been informed right now that the energy assistance program funding is business as usual, but we are waiting any updates on that. There is rollover funding that is carrying the program right now. And the board had just reached out to the governor's office for a contingency plan in case funding does not come through. And this is the list of the other community partners that we work with: Norwich Human Services, United Way, area churches, Catholic Charities, Salvation Army. Many of these organizations have very limited funding this year, so we've been very flexible in making arrangements and assisting customers. Any questions?
No, the last couple of months, the termination notices have come out quite a bit. Not 20,000 a month. But I think, to what Sean was saying, I think there's between paying utility bills and putting food on the table, so I think they're going to be busy.
I anticipate a very busy November with customers coming in and filing, making sure that they're protected, and also applying early for the programs to capture the funding that they can.
You're putting that on the Facebook page. Yep, and we'll do a news release about the success of this program, because it started November 1st of the second year, so this is 370 with about 330 last year. First utility, but then as part of that, we'll make sure to include that for more information, to contact customer service, and someone can walk you through the process. That's it. It's been a great success.
Yeah, I guess it seems like it's gonna be a little bit colder earlier than it was last year. So I can see, be a little bit more decision because of weather alone, regardless of any other circumstances.
Yeah.
So it's an investment. Yeah. So, however we can support you, keep up the great work. And have some family that's gonna need these things first and problems. Moving on to our next presentation.
Yeah. Oh, this is, I can do this, this is,
You didn't tell me I'm doing your
no,
agenda.
no, you can do this, you can introduce it, it's all written down here for you.
Let's talk, and I gotta do that.
So, Tony Rizzi is going to be presenting our electric capital projects update, mainly the hydros and the dam work that happened this summer. And you'll probably see him again next month for some substation stuff as well. So, I think this is Tony's first time before the board, so. Second?
Usually.
Okay. Okay.
So an update on some projects at the Greenville Dam and Second Street Hydro. So a little background on the dam. It was built in 1882 and it's a timber ballast dam. So it's made out of white oak and stone. That's basically it. The lumber we order, we get from local sawmills that have managed forests in Connecticut. So everything on it is in-house. So this year we did our annual maintenance. We pretty much have to do it every year just because of the wear and tear on the wood. And we ended up putting in 1,841 board feet of lumber, 50 cubic yards of ballast stone. We also did 150 feet of flash boards. So these boards basically protect the dam. Any debris, trees that come down, instead of hitting the granite coping, it hits the wood and knocks them out. And it also gives us a little extra water for the hydros. So this section of the dam is middle height-wise next to the fish lift. You can see how it's built. So this is all new timbers. And we never really know how far we got to go down in a section that needs work. We got to go until we find some suitable wood that's not rotted. This one we ended up going down 4 layers. This gets filled with stone and then capped with decking. Next. This section's at the top near the rec area. This one we only had to go down 1 layer. Added the timbers, more stone, decking, and you see the finished result. Next slide. Onto the hydro. A little background again. This was installed in 1926. You can see everything is older. Has 2 hydro units producing 0.5 megawatt each. And the water comes through the canal to feed the hydro, which is because of the Greenville Dam. Excellent. So we had some bad concrete cracking on the back wall. So this holds back the canal. So this is filled with water up to about here. This is after we chiseled it all up. Here's some old existing rebar that we went down to the first layer, added new rebar. Then they added forms to hold, it's about 60,000 pounds of concrete for the pour. Excellent. Used a pump truck to pour it, and it was done in 1 day. Next day, they pulled the forms, and looks good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So this is the interior of that. It's like a big square pool, basically. So the water was going through the concrete, freezing and thawing on the backside, and that's why it was cracking and peeling. So we ended up doing a concrete waterproof layer on this that should hold up to the debris, and it could be touched up once a year, so this doesn't happen again. Oh, that's it. Any questions?
Is this Madden? I think Eric said last time that Madden usually does, construction does the work. Are they still doing that?
Yeah, they did the dam work this year and this work as well. I believe their contract's up in December and it has to go back out to bid.
Where does the wood come from?
This year it was from Scotland Hardwoods. So they're in Scotland and they have forests around the state that they manage, and they pick and choose where they get the wood and then plant new trees, so it's always available. That's why it switches from white to red oak. Depends where they're getting it from, what source.
What's the total cost of the repairs for this year?
Total costs.
Well,
So on the dam, it was roughly 142,000, including the lumber and labor.
840.
No, 142.
Oh, that's better.
And the concrete work, interior and exterior, was 106,000.
Also very challenging this year because of the Atlantic Packaging, Evan Bloom situation, walking access to, part of this. And, so Tony's, team had to work through, a lot of adversity, getting around that construction.
And I'll learn
On that executive session.
I know last year we did a big project on the Greenville Dam. That was, remember how much that was for last year? That was more than 140.
Yeah, I think we're at like 250. So, yeah, 250, 300.
So
So,
actually missed the year before. Oh, no.
Is that right?
So that's why you had more damage and more work. So if you average it out over 2 years, it's in
Yeah.
line with what was budgeted. But because we couldn't get on the dam, and it's kind of one of these things, when we can get on there, we fix as much as we can.
yeah,
as
and this
fast
year
as
we did
can.
get cut short. So the rain came, water started coming out of the dam and we were done. So we worked until we can.
So given maintenance costs and all the other things, and power that it generates, is it a profit making development for us or not?
We do make a profit on these, not significant, but it is green energy, it's renewable energy.
Yeah.
And I think it's about 330 homes.
This is $275,000 in electricity that we didn't have to buy.
And it breaks even, but like it says, it's, it is green, it is hydropower, it's
I'm not-
local, but
Just trying to
it's
understand.
not a big money.
And the other problem with it is when we typically have our annual peak, we don't typically have water because that's in the summer months. So, there's not much we can do about that. We run it Rock River. And, when the water levels get too low, we can't run it. That's why we tend to do the, maintenance in July, August timeframe.
Okay, 2 years ago it was possible, because we had all rain.
Double-edged sword,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, makes sense, man.
Tony and his team done an exceptional job behind the scenes. I mean, to keep these things running, we've got a colony in 1928, and the governors, and I've had the privilege of
Yeah, it's
going through this with you.
That's for sure.
The Contractors that we bring in from halfway across the country to help us fine tune this thing is really, but it's a unique skill set that we have internally.
I agree, yep. Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Tony.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll give our, sewer plant upgrade, this one?
Sorry.
Sewer plant upgrade? No, that's you're now. So that will change for that. And Larry will have to wait his turn.
Slow your roll, Larry.
All right, good evening, board. You probably need this slide. So, since we last met, excuse me.
Blue water.
Okay. Kind of hit our first milestone in our whole solids handling transition. So, as of about 3 weeks ago, we ceased sending any of our sludges to the digesters. All that material is now going to our new thickened sludge storage facility and being exported overnight by our contracted hauler. Since then, the contractor's been racing to demo the belt filter press, which I saw being driven away this morning. And in the lower left there, we are actively, as of the beginning of last week, dewatering the digesters. So that's a contractor effort. There's a specialized subcontractor with, I don't need to go into it, but different dewatering technologies to move that material out of the digesters so we can demolish the digesters, something that'll happen over the winter and the early spring. We have had a lot of startup training on our first upgraded primary settling tank. Probably going to talk tomorrow on when we're going to place this into service. It will be effectively ready by the end of the week. Probably putting it into service in early November to support some other important sequencing with new clarifiers that we'll see in a second. And there is to the side of the station, there's a new dedicated scum pump station that will serve both primary tanks. Here are a couple of external shots, again, of the first two new clarifiers. up on the hill toward the, the bottom of the landfill. So kind of in the top shot is just kind of the foreground with the pump station between the two clarifiers, and then the bottom photo is just from the rear, like the Yantic River side of that facility. And again, there's a new second, ultimately 3 scum pump stations to serve these 2 clarifiers. And to the first photo, if you just do one click, just to give you some perspective of the interior gallery space in the basement of the pump station between those 2 clarifiers. So it's all process equipment. It is kind of neat that the 2 walls of the station are actually joined with the clarifier. So it's kind of neat to see curved pump room walls. And those will follow very closely behind our first primary tank. So I expect most of this infrastructure will be online together. Next slide. So aeration tank 2 is just heavily underway. All the interior concrete walls have been constructed, and I tried to get an effluent shot here. You can't see a lot, but there's a lot of just process installation happening in the basement. Putting this tank online is down the road a little bit. So admin and lab, I think I mentioned this last time, but we're standing up structural steel for the new lab to start. The admin's lagging a little bit behind for a variety of reasons, but we're putting up steel and should start seeing the filling envelope, metal framing kind of come together over the next few weeks and get that, at least the shell closed up before winter. And then finally, just again, a look ahead toward, upcoming work. Commissioning of thick and sludge storage tanks is behind us. We're actively using that facility, moving away from the digesters, and then again in the coming, really the next 3 weeks, there's a lot of new infrastructure coming online. So our first new primary tank and scum pump station, again, 2 new clarifiers, secondary sludge pump station, secondary scum pump station, and sort of ancillary hydraulic structures to help the wastewater move to each of those processes. Much of the other work will continue through the end of next year and beyond. This is our final disinfection season this year on chlorine. A year from now, I hope we're saying we're ending our UV disinfection season, but hopefully we're commissioning that next summer. And then again, through the winter, moving into more of a demolition, heavy earthwork type of activities. So take any questions you may have.
Well, do you want to acknowledge that, ask Matt a question in our last meeting? He did respond to me in regards to how much chlorine we would save, by moving to UV. What was the answer that you gave, sir? Do you remember?
I want to say something at 13,000 gallons. Right?
24,000 guys. So how quick, bro? Gotta see.
I went in the recycle bin after last meeting.
I got you.
Think to bring it up today.
Yeah, no worries.
These things going very soon.
Yes, there is a lot of, I just say from the staff actually operating, maintaining, so there's a lot of learning happening. And kind of, hey, Mr. Programmer, can you tweak this for us? We think we can benefit from this solution. So there's a lot of that back and forth happening with engineer and then other entities under the contractor on the instrumentation scale stuff. Yeah, but things are going well. I've heard operators tell me this thick and sludge facility is a lot better than they were anticipating. So it's all promising.
Got a good team working.
All right, Mr. Eager Beaver.
All right.
I'll wait till I come out. So there was an article, I think today's paper, the bulletin about our drought state. for the graph, the orange line is from mid 2000 to 2020, the last 5 years. This is where we are today. We're about, both reservoirs about 72% combined, which is just a drought advisory. We got to jumpstart it. That's where you kind of just notify the public, hey, think about conserving water, don't wash your cars, there's other things. The state, every week, they know what levels are at. Every week, the chief plant operator sends a reservoir level up to the state. State has a database. Right now, back in 2022, because it was an extended like 3-month hovering around that 70%, because a statewide drought emergency, DPH has not administered anything like that yet. Groton is about 75 to 76%. We're kind of in tune with them. They usually have more water than us, so the fact that they're a little low is not concerning, but just odd for them. There's different levels as you get at 80% to 100%. There's no actions. That's normal operating under DPH zones. Under 80% is right now a drought advisory. The next slide, but if what Tony and they were talking about, if you go back a slide.
Oh, sorry.
This is why they couldn't fix the dam, that crazy straight line we had for a long time. And everything's that full, you're not getting it to fix the dam. So that graph in the back. So the next slide. So
Sure.
this information is in our staged drought response plan, which is part of our water supply plan that has to go to the DPH. And each one of the stages that you get to, like develop drought advisory, notify DPH. Well, they're notified every week. There's no additional notification every week. But we monitor daily withdrawal, where we look a hard dive into what meters, what goes out, what's recorded, water loss, looking at water leaks, that kind of thing. And you encourage efforts, residential, which I think Chris and Simone through social media stuff in the newspapers. Hey, just pay, don't wash your car, that kind of stuff. Just anything you can serve would help. As it starts to drop, it just kind of builds on what you've already have established. The next one is really enhance your public outreach, and then encourage. It's not, you don't quite demand it yet, but you're looking for like a 10 to 15% reduction. Like literally just turn off the water, you're brushing your teeth, like shorter showers, that kind of stuff. Once it gets below 60%, is a warning, and that's when it gets tough for municipality. You can really enforce water conservation methods, and we haven't had to do that. And it is, New England rarely has a drought like you see out west. Just the weather patterns, they are what they are. If you look back at that past graph, you see that new pattern starting to emerge. It really starts in like August, September. You're getting these fall droughts now, where before you used to have it in the summer. We've had such wet springs the last few years. The weather pattern changing could be, but the data right now says the last 4 or 5 years we're getting fall droughts as opposed to summer. But we're not in near panic mode or anything like that. So when we get another inch and a half of rain coming on Thursday, which will help, you'll see the weather pattern start to change.
I see that's combined. Is there a difference between?
Yeah, they are, because Stony's smaller, right? Because right now, Deep River's at 72.5, Stony Brook's at 69.25, but the state wants a combined capacity. And those numbers, again, these approximate days, those are kind of skewed because DPH makes you use like a worst case, like they make us use a summer demand when we create those numbers. But if you actually use our demand for the last month, we're still at 252 days of water supply left, where the drought advisory says 242. It's a little bit of a difference, but those numbers are based on the worst case.
We go up tomorrow night.
Ouch. That's not gonna hurt.
Right. Next we'll talk about is the gas construction, and we have Chris Golis, who's our construction manager, to go over this presentation.
Evening all.
Greetings.
Right, so officially as of 5:30, quarter of six this evening, we completed the paving on Asylum Street. That's the reason Barry's not here tonight. He opted to stay out. The project he started a couple days ago, he wanted to see it through to the finish, so I said, fine. We shook hands at about 3:30. He texted me right before I got here that they were on the last 3 loads. So paving is complete. All the sidewalk restorations, lawn restorations are also complete. They will be marking out for all of the painting of the stop sign boxes and the center lines starting tomorrow. So that should be completed as long as the rain holds off, as long as we expect it to. Hopefully before the end of the week, because of the amount of bus traffic and cut through traffic, we felt it was important to expedite that as much as we could. So again, that project's wrapped up. The NFA project area Crescent Rockwell phase is 100% complete. So the main is in, all the lawn restorations, all the sidewalk restorations, all the painting of the road has been completed. The old main has been abandoned in 90% of that area. There's a little bit down in the McKinley area left to be done. We're doing some tie over there. But as far as that phase of the project, it's 100% complete. We're able to wrap that up in conjunction with NFA to make sure we met their return to school schedule. So there was a lot of balancing and conversation to make sure we didn't, get in the way of the teachers preparing to come back to school. So there was a lot of interaction with NFA. They were great, allowing us to do some cut throughs through the school and things like that to make sure that project got completed on time. Again, Franklin Street and McKinley, which I was mentioning, we're basically done with the main. There's a few more services that are getting final tie overs. We had some customers decide to get back on the natural gas system towards the end, slowed us down a little bit. We've still got a few services on the house side. So basically the gas is to the house. We just haven't piped from the house to our service yet, but all the mains are in, all the services are in. We're in good shape there. Main service and renewal work has begun on Spalding and Freeman. That work was completed today as well. It's planned for the internal MPU crews to go out there tomorrow and purge those lines out with nitrogen. And if we have the time tomorrow, we'll purge the gas in and energize those mains as well, which will allow us to start running the services to the homes on those roads. The saw cutting on Warren Street was completed today as well. So they're going to go right from the Spalding Freeman right over to Warren, which is right next door, and they'll get started on that. 3 to 5 days worth of work depending on weather. So hopefully the weather isn't as bad as Larry's hoping for his reservoir, because that'll slow us down a little bit, but we're in really good shape to get that project set as well. So we're in really good shape there. The formal abandonment of the 4-inch cast iron, 8-inch cast iron mains are expected to be completed by Thanksgiving. That's a very generous forecast. We should be done well before that time frame, so that we can do all of our road restorations and things like that before we get close to the asphalt plants closing. Permanent patchwork to start to be completed on the city roads in December, weather permitting. So again, rain for a couple hours doesn't affect us much. We can get a half day of work in. If we get a heavy drenching like we're going to, that can delay an entire day. So very, very weather dependent. North Main Street project, we just walked it today. So the project manager, Bill Dewey, and myself walked it as a request from the state to identify where all the concrete and trolley tracks are under the road, because that'll directly impact all of our milling. So we're working with Corey from the state to make sure that we're all on the same page. We walked and marked that out. So we're 100% done putting services on North Main Street. So all of the road work is now completed. We're in the process of tying all of those services to the houses now. So everything in the road is done. We still got some tie-ins to happen on the houses. The high pressure end was done first, so that we can stay on top of the state timeline. And now we're working on the low pressure end. Approximately 15 services remain to be completed. A couple of those are larger projects like the Macara building, places like that, commercial buildings with larger pipe. Take us a little bit longer, but we're making really good progress on that. The side street tie-ins are substantially complete at this point. We're really maintaining a good schedule with the in-house MPU crews who do the majority of the tie-overs. Definitely the more complex ones, the easier 2 and 4-inch main tie-overs. We're working with CD Utility, the grant contractor, to do some of those so we can meet all these timeframes. And again, that permanent patchwork, which will hold us through the winter, is expected to be done. We're going to start on November 10th, and we've got a drop dead date of the day before Thanksgiving. Unless we get some really bad weather patterns, that the state will work with us to grant us another week if need be. But their goal is, before the day before Thanksgiving, we should be wrapped up with all that restoration. So the 2022 grant as a project is still on target to be completed by the middle of 2026. We're working diligently with CB Utilities right now to reconcile all of the billing for this past construction season. So we're very actively working through that process so we can move forward and target what we're going to wrap up this year with and what we're going to tackle next year as well. So the 2023 grant status, final approvals are in place to start design. Design is expected to take place in winter of 25-26. We have identified some efficiencies that we can find in the project. Purchasing of materials, the way we actually write the spec bid. We've found some things that we think we can, get a little bit more out of the project for the next one. So it wasn't like we're just going to move forward, do the exact same thing. So our goal is to even be more efficient with the next grant. So we're working hard at that. Bill Dewey and I were out on the road today talking about those things that when we sit down this winter to start moving forward, how we're going to do that. And that construction is expected to take place 2027 through 2030, so early 2027. Basically February, March, April, we'll be out there pre-piping services, saw cutting and getting all our line assignments in for where the pipe's going to go. And that'll follow completion of the 2022 grant, which we will tackle as soon as weather allows in the spring, until we've completed either the funding is exhausted or we've completed all the work that was identified. Any questions?
And they're both, well, go ahead, Jim. You did the presentations for the fire departments, don't you?
I do.
Your presentation today was very professional and depth. Nice job.
Thank you.
So both grants about 10 million apiece?
10 million for the first grant, 10.9 for the second grant. Yep. And there's still more opportunities out there that we're looking at, so.
Are the new services being installed or are these just?
Depending on the age and the quality of the service that was there, so if it's what we call SOTA, state of the art, we can leave that service in place and just put new piping into the house and then tie it over to the new main. If that service is old or doesn't meet our standards that Pura sets our guidelines, then we will put a whole new service in. So where it's not warranted, we don't do it. Some of the shortcomings on that, we don't have some of the sand that we would normally have in today's services, 6 inches all the way around. We might not have tracer wire, but to spend more money out of the grant than we needed to, we kind of, weighed the quality of the pipe versus the quality of the installation and move forward. So it really was a one-off basis. There wasn't a blanket.
And there's no expense to the resident, homeowner?
No expense to the resident. Everything was scheduled with the homeowner or property owners, directly involved in that, just like the paving on a silent street, going to the business owners, making sure they were comfortable. We accommodated their businesses. So that's always our goal at the end of the day.
So when most of these services were installed, then we had wet gas at that time. Meters were all inside. Now the meters are getting moved out, so there is some inside piping that has to get done to accommodate it. So this is a little more than what we would normally do on a new service. Normally, we just run it to the outside of the house and the plumber takes it from there.
This is a gas expansion opportunity as well, and not on the scale that we talked to in the history, but we can understand when we're going by house, we're marketing, hey, it's not really, we want to convert your gas, heating to gas. This is the time to do it, break the cost down according to the communities that pay for the new service. But at the same time, there's a economy of scale that you at that point. More endpoints we have in the gas, the more we can socialize fixed costs and the better it is for the visits.
We base 2 of the 3 customers we've been working with on North Main Street, business owners. 2 of the 3 gave us verbals today, contracts were sent, and they're working with a contractor to convert the waste oil to natural gas so the Cleveland's property. So we're actively working with them, giving them every opportunity to take advantage of this while we're out there, as long as it's not a cost to the ratepayers. Yeah.
10% of the bills going to the city versus going to the.
Yep. Good.
Good, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good job. Well, this is the action item number 7, which is actions first.
Oh, no, we have one more to go. That's just Mary Lou for the technology plan update.
So last month we spoke about the technology plan and we went out to rebid based on clarification. So we did do that rebid. We did close on those proposals and we are evaluating them then. We're hoping within the next month, we will have interviews scheduled and hopefully we'll choose our partner for technology.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Now moving on to Action item number 7.
Yeah, we have no actions for this meeting today.
Yeah. So with that being said, Chris, brings us to executive session. Would you like to say, sir?
Senior team, Larry, Chris, Simone, and also Hanson Cummings from Cummins and Fire.
When I entertain a motion to go into executive session, chief.
Don't think of all that.
Second by Stu, second by Jerry. Yeah. Any discussions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, executive session.
And just, if you could just discuss the confidential trades.
To discuss the trade, confidential secrets, commercially valuable confidential reports, proprietary information, not subject to inspection by public or disclosure pursuant to section 1-2105 and 7-232A of the Connecticut General Statute. This information commercially valuable, confidential, proprietary, and not subject to public disclosure pursuant to Public Act number 98212 to discuss personal matters of an employee and/or public official pursuant to chapter 14, section 1-200, section 6A of the Connecticut General Statute. Open to executive session.
You all?
No. The most serious one. I mean, serious.
Red Sox are playing this time.
But I like the Dodgers though. I don't like them, but I like it. Yeah.
Anybody but Canada to win.
Those guys are good.
Yeah. Well, that Chinese, Japanese guy or whatever.
Shohei Ohtani? Yeah.
So do you know why the
He's
Dodgers,
got signals on.
Yeah. Huh?
you know why the Dodgers have the name Dodgers?
No.
When they were in Brooklyn,
Uh-huh.
there were a lot of trolleys in Brooklyn. And their original name was the Trolley Dodgers.
Oh.
They dropped trolley from.
Then they moved from Brooklyn, that's horrible.
Wow.
That was like in the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Up to California, that was a big deal for New York, you know, oh my God, the Dodgers love.
Well, I feel like the Hartford Whalers.
Yeah.
You know, these guys got the nerve of playing in freaking jerseys the other day.
Well, there's a bunch of hardcore Whaler fans still out there, bro. They're really hard.
We have them in our stores, so I know, so, yes.
Keep selling them then. Keep selling them.
Sorry, we got a little off topic. Let me get you guys home. I'm gonna make a motion to come out of executive session.
There's no vote to come out, we just come out,
Just come out.
and we have a vote.
And no votes or actions were taken.
No motion action taken. I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Any exceptions? Motion passed.
Adjourned. We are done.
Craig, you can go to bed now.